now there's a deep dive by ProPublica, this left-leaning press organization, which is accusing him of violating ethical rules by having a rich friend, is essentially what it boils down to. This is the reporting. For over 20 years, Thomas has been treated to luxury vacations by billionaire Republican donor Harlan Crow, heir to a real estate fortune, who is on the board of AEI. He also sits on the board of the Hoover Institution. Thomas goes on cruises in far-flung locales on Crow's yacht. He flies on his private jet and keeps company with Crow's powerful friends at the billionaire's private resort. They're mad that he went on yacht trips and he's been hanging with Crow and he's been hanging with Crow's, rich friends and so on. And here's just a little bit of the ProPublica reporter trying to explain why this is so reprehensible, Dennis.
So we found that Justice Thomas has been accepting luxury, lavish trips from a Dallas billionaire Republican donor virtually every year for over 20 years. So one recent example is in 2019, the businessman whose name is Harlan Crow flew Thomas to Indonesia on his private jet and then took him island hopping for 9 days on a super yacht. These men have spent a lot of time together over the years. And what they've discussed and whether Crow has had any influence on Thomas, whether that's directly or indirectly, is still unknown.
What they don't tell you is that there's absolutely no ethical prohibition in place that would stop any of this or that would require disclosure. One was passed recently in March that updated some of the rules that might require disclosure of the private air travel. But when Thomas was doing all of this, there was no such rule in place. And even the god of legal ethics, the guy who wrote the book, Stephen Gillers, only the Wall Street Journal would report this, of course. He's an NYU law professor and an expert on legal ethics, right? He points out, quote, up until last month, Thomas had a plausible argument that he did not have to disclose, that the expenses fell under the personal hospitality exception to any of the rules prohibiting judges from taking certain monies. And by the way, most of those rules don't even apply to the U.S. Supreme Court, but they see an opportunity to get him, to make him look corrupt, and they're running with it.
That's exactly what it is. I don't know how many people even know, even on our side. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when she was Supreme Court Justice, was in Cairo. The Egyptians were thinking of developing a constitution or a new constitution for their country. And she said, in effect, that the last place they should look is to the U.S. Constitution. So here's a Supreme Court Justice who took an oath to guard the Constitution and to act according to constitutional guidelines, who advised the country adopting a new constitution not to take the U.S. Constitution as a model. She gave the South African Constitution as a model, which, by the way, I then dutifully looked up. It is enormous. It's about 30 pages, and it's got every possible left-wing right that an individual or a society can have. So was this news? What's more dangerous? A Supreme Court justice who goes on a private plane and yacht of a rich man every year on a vacation, or a Supreme Court justice who has disdain for the U.S. Constitution?
Yeah, no, they don't care about that. But of course, any chance to jump on this guy, and the left seizes it. I go back again to Joy Reid. Watch this.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who's mostly known for his scandalous sexual harassment allegations, notoriously involving Coke cans, and for his wife being an aspiring insurrectionist. Well, he has been revealed to be utterly corrupt, according to new reporting from ProPublica. It found that for more than 2 decades, Justice Thomas has accepted luxury vacations nearly every year from Republican billionaire mega donor Harlan Crow. And apparently he failed to report them on his financial disclosure forms, as he is required to do.
No, he's not. He isn't. She's an idiot who refuses to do her homework. It is a theme with this woman. I mean, literally on March 14th, Dennis, they passed new rules for federal judges saying, okay, from March 14th, 2023 forward, all judges must disclose gifts and free stays at commercial properties. Commercial, not at the home of a rich friend. Or when gifts of hospitality are being reimbursed by a third party who's not the person providing it. Not even arguably this case. The law includes an exception on such reporting for food, lodging, or entertainment received as personal hospitality. The new rule clarifies that personal means a judge has a personal relationship with the host and should not include situations in which the invitation is merely being delivered personally. The ethical rules as just written. There was nothing before. Nothing. He was fine to do what he wanted. Now they've just implemented one a month ago. And this rule is not trying to ban gifts that are the results of friendships or kindnesses. They are trying to hobble influence peddling. They are trying to get judges to disclose when Marriott gives them some gift that's worth $10,000, and then Marriott has a case going up before the U.S. Supreme Court. That's what they're after. And now they do have to disclose gifts of transportation, so the private jet travel will have to be disclosed. But there's not even an allegation that one of those private jet trips has been taken in the past month. Nonetheless, now some are calling for his impeachment. Listen to AOC.
I think this is an emergency. I think that this is a crisis. I think we've had a crisis for some time on the Supreme Court. I do think articles need to be introduced. If we decide strategically that the actual author of those articles and who introduces them may not be me, that's fine. I will support impeachment. But I just think that if no one's going to introduce it, I would certainly be open to doing so and drafting them myself. I think this is gone far, far beyond any sort of acceptable standard in any democracy, let alone an American democracy.
You're too dumb to be in Congress. Too dumb to be in, and that's saying something. You tell us, Dennis, what is Clarence Thomas's real offense?
That I can tell you. He's not on the left and he's black. Every time I have a black Republican or black conservative on my radio show or at a PragerU event, every single one, or even privately, I ask them, how do your friends and family regard you? And almost always, with a certain sadness, they speak about the relatives who won't speak to them. By the way, did you ever notice it doesn't work in the other direction?
Sure, you can go to Brazil or Colombia and get some crazy stuff done to your face, but why would you do that? Here's a real review from Genucel.com. Claire writes, I absolutely love Genucel. My skin feels so good, tighter, younger, with a more even tone, and I only used it for a week. My advice for everyone, take a before picture. Then there's Jim, who makes another point, writing in, wife loves it. Ever since I purchased it for her, things got much more interesting after dark. Enough said. It's true. Nothing works like Genucel because it is a family recipe for over 20 years, made by a compounding pharmacist in small batches and always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Right now, go to Genucel.com/MK60 and save over 70% off Genucel's most popular package. That's all their best stuff, including now their ultra retinol and dark spot corrector. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60. All orders upgraded to free shipping, and every subscription order includes a complimentary spring spa box with 3 spa essentials, also free. Limited time. Visit now. Genucel.com/MK60. That's GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.